Some people inherit power, others manufacture it from the ground up. Today's story isn't about royalty, oil, or tradition. It's about a man who turned raw ambition into an entire city and luxury into a global signal of dominance. No crown, no lineage, just control, scale, and vision operating at a level few ever reach. This is not a lifestyle built behind palace walls. It's engineered in skyscrapers, financial districts, and private ecosystems designed to attract the world's elite. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why even the most powerful royals are forced to pay attention. So here's the question. When wealth is self-made and ambition has no ceiling, does luxury still have limits? Comment Empire if you believe his lifestyle operates on a level most people can't even comprehend, and subscribe to the channel because what you're about to see is where the billionaire life breaks into an entirely different dimension. Power becomes real the moment it has a physical center. For Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, that center is Zabil Palace, not a symbol, but a control point. Hidden behind fortified walls and guarded corridors, the residence operates in near silence. Traffic disappears as you approach. Security tightens without announcement. The stillness isn't decorative, it's engineered. This isn't a palace designed for admiration. It's designed for authority. Inside, gold stone floors, massive chandeliers, and custom interiors don't exist to impress visitors. They exist to reinforce hierarchy. Heads of state, financial power brokers, and global decision-makers have passed through these rooms to negotiate outcomes that never reach headlines. What happens here shapes markets, cities, and futures. But Zabil Palace is not where the story pauses. It's where movement begins. Because once the gates close behind him, Sheikh Mohammed doesn't remain confined to walls. His power travels with precision, scale, and intent. And that's where this world expands far beyond a single palace. The Golden Palace, where power becomes physical. Power doesn't announce itself here. It settles in. Zabil Palace isn't designed to impress the public. It's designed to disappear from it. High walls cut off sightlines. Security layers erase movement before it begins. Roads leading in feel intentionally empty, as if the city itself steps back. This isn't a residence meant to be seen. It's a place built to operate. Inside, authority takes shape through scale and silence. Gold-veined marble floors, towering chandeliers, and custom interiors aren't decoration. They're signals. This is where heads of state wait, where billion-dollar decisions happen without cameras, where influence doesn't need noise to be effective. The palace functions less like a home and more like a nerve center. But this is only the static point. Because the moment Sheikh Mohammed moves, power doesn't stay behind these walls. It travels with him. When luxury stops being an event. For Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, luxury isn't reserved for milestones. It's the baseline. Mornings don't begin with routine. They begin with orchestration. Ingredients arrive from multiple continents. Presentation matters as much as quality. What looks like breakfast is closer to ceremony, designed with the same care as a diplomatic reception. Yet these moments aren't public. They're controlled, private, almost understated in tone despite the scale. Gold finishes and rare delicacies exist not to impress outsiders, but because limitation simply doesn't apply. At this level, excess isn't indulgence, it's normalcy. Stories circulate of staggering sums spent on single ingredients during travel, not as spectacle, but because convenience outweighs cost. And when daily life already operates at this altitude, the real question isn't how luxurious it looks, but how power moves once it leaves the room. That's where the story goes next, where power becomes physical. Absolute authority doesn't announce itself. It settles in quietly. For Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, that authority begins at Zabil Palace, not as a display of wealth, but as a nerve center of control. The approach is deliberate. Silent roads, restricted access, security layers that feel invisible, yet unmistakable. This isn't designed for visitors. It's designed for command. Inside, the environment reinforces that message. Gold-accented stone, towering chandeliers, and custom interiors aren't decoration. They're signals. Decisions made here don't stay here. They ripple outward, shaping economies, cities, and global partnerships. Heads of state and industry leaders have passed through these rooms, often quietly, often without cameras. But this palace is only the starting point, because power at this level is never static, it moves. For most people, luxury is an event. Here, it's routine. Daily life inside the palace unfolds with the same precision as state affairs. Meals aren't prepared, they're curated. Ingredients arrive from across the globe. Presentation matters as much as taste. Even the smallest rituals are treated as moments of refinement rather than indulgence. Yet much of this happens away from spectacle. These experiences aren't staged for the world. They're private, shared in controlled settings with family and trusted company. Stories of extraordinary spending circulate, not because of excess, but because limitation simply doesn't exist here. When luxury becomes the baseline, the question shifts. If this is normal, what happens when he leaves the palace behind? At this level, movement itself becomes infrastructure. Sheikh Mohammed doesn't commute, he transitions. His aircraft aren't jets in the traditional sense. They're airborne residences, equipped with private suites, meeting spaces, and environments engineered to remain constant regardless of distance. Time zones change, routine does not. On the ground, the same continuity applies. Vehicles are selected, staged, and sometimes transported ahead of him, so familiarity is never disrupted. Routes are planned. Security is present but restrained. Helicopters bypass congestion entirely when speed matters. Everything is designed to preserve momentum, but land and air are only part of the system, because when control is the goal, even geography must bend. And that leads us to the next domain, where movement becomes limitless. Out on the water, power finally detaches from geography. For Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the sea is not an escape. It's a controlled environment where privacy reaches its highest form. His superyacht operates like a self-contained residence, capable of remaining offshore for extended periods without relying on ports, schedules, or public infrastructure. Inside, the experience resembles a private resort rather than a vessel. Full suites, lounges designed for both meetings and leisure, wellness spaces, and expansive decks that never feel exposed. Everything is arranged to maintain continuity, so life on board feels no different from life inside a palace. The yacht's design also removes dependency. A helipad enables direct arrivals and departures, while dedicated crews and security teams ensure movement happens quietly and on command. Whether positioned near Dubai or drifting through international waters, the environment stays sealed, predictable, and uninterrupted. Here, distance becomes insulation. Conversations unfold away from cameras. Time stretches. Influence remains intact without being visible. The ocean becomes a moving boundary, wide enough to shield power, calm enough to preserve it. And yet, even this level of freedom is only part of the story, because legacy at this scale isn't defined by where one can go, but by what one chooses to build beyond visibility. For Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, power isn't only expressed through buildings or wealth on paper. It lives in symbols that move, breathe, and endure. At the center of that world are horses, not as decoration, not as sport alone, but as a legacy engineered at scale. Entire global operations exist to breed, train, and manage championship bloodlines that compete internationally and shape the future of elite racing. These stables are not personal indulgences. They are precision systems built around discipline, heritage, and dominance, where tradition is preserved through performance. Falcons hold an equally profound place. Deeply rooted in Emirati culture, they represent authority, patience, and mastery. Each bird is raised and trained by specialists, monitored with medical care and technology usually reserved for humans. Their role is symbolic, but never ornamental. They reflect a leadership philosophy grounded in history rather than spectacle, where status is inherited through responsibility, not excess. Beyond horses and falcons, private estates house rare animals in protected environments designed to mirror their natural habitats. These are not exhibitions. They are controlled ecosystems, built to preserve lineage and balance, rather than impress outsiders. In this world, ownership is not about display, it's about stewardship. But even this realm of living symbols is only a fragment of the story, because while these animals represent tradition and identity, Sheikh Mohammed's true legacy stretches far beyond personal domains. It reshaped an entire landscape, transforming desert into global influence. And that is where the story moves next. Dubai was never meant to survive on inheritance. It was meant to be built. When Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum looked at the desert decades ago, he didn't see limitations. He saw leverage, a location, a blank slate, and the opportunity to design power instead of inheriting it. At the time, Dubai was a modest trading hub surrounded by sand and sea. No global skyline, no luxury capital, no reason for the world to look twice. That changed because speed became policy. Decisions that would take years elsewhere were executed in months. Entire districts rose where nothing had existed. Ports, airports, financial centers, and tourism infrastructure were designed to work together, not compete. Every project followed the same rule. Think beyond oil, build for permanence, and attract the world before it realizes what's happening. Dubai wasn't just constructed to impress, it was engineered to endure. Real estate, aviation, finance, and global trade replaced dependency with diversification. The city became a hub where capital moves freely, businesses relocate by choice, and wealth multiplies by design. Millions now live inside a system that didn't evolve naturally. It was planned, and that's what separates luxury from power. Palaces, yachts, and symbols matter, but shaping an entire city changes the rules permanently. When you control the environment people depend on, influence outlasts wealth. Dubai isn't just a destination, it's proof that vision, when enforced at scale, becomes legacy. And that's where this story truly ends. Not with what was owned, but with what was created. From fortified palaces and mobile strongholds to living symbols of tradition and a city engineered from vision, the life of Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum shows a form of wealth built on execution, authority, and long-term control. Dubai is not just a luxury destination, it is proof that power can be designed, scaled, and sustained far beyond inheritance. This story forces a bigger question. If true wealth is defined by what you can shape, move, and command, not just what you own, then who truly stands at the top of the world today? Share your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to like and subscribe to keep exploring the hidden realities of elite power and billionaire life. We'll see you in the next episode.